95 million damage in Gear Raid 121. Power dominance was off. This is a defender, Malvira, in front of the wall, keeping pace with truly a god mode Ajax. I'll show you him quickly. However, this showcase, this guide where we actually show her off in content, that will come tomorrow. The point of this video is to break down the newest hero coming to Watch of Realms, Malvira, and really hype her up because I prepared a little list. I actually already shared it on Discord, so if you're not following my Discord, the Fastidious, link in the description, be sure to follow it. This is a list of all the specific, desirable, unique things she brings. So the top 3, these are the things that like, hey, what makes a good tank? What makes a good defender in Watcher of Realms? The 3 things you always need to have an elite tank. Number 1, you need some kind of delay death. That's what I like to call it. I know Slate calls it second life, some kind of unyielding, unkillability, whatever. That is essential. You know, Brokir, Torador, all these top guys, Baron, if you're going to go to epics, that sets them apart. Then you need increased block. Increased block is huge. I'll tell you right now, we are going to do a kit breakdown, but she gets +3 increased block during her ultimate for 10 seconds. That is insanity. That is 7 block. That puts Malvira next to Gon as the most block in the game, I do believe. And then finally, you need that tank to be tanky. Some kind of personal damage reduction. She gets all of this instantaneously, even without skill ups, even without awakenings. The big 3, she checks all 3 of those boxes. Then for the next 7 things, these are just awesome things to have. She's got phenomenal faction synergy in both her factions. Too often in Watcher of Realms do we have these dual faction heroes that really don't fit into either faction. But she's a tank, so she's perfect as a Northerner. She gets some big ass shields. It is very nice. And then, as a cultist, she's got crowd control, she can do damage, she fits in perfectly there. She even has synergies when allied summons die. She can gain mechanism boosts in her kit. We'll go over that. Then she's got crowd control, phenomenal. Really good, steady, unique crowd control with a kind of a pull displacement mechanic. She has a huge range, so her basic attacks are 2 tiles in front. That is really nice to see in a melee unit. Her ultimate, as a melee unit, biggest ultimate range in the game. Just like Beelzebub, 5x3 tiles. She puts shields on herself, which we love. She puts out major damage, as you can see here, right above my head. She does AoE DPS. She can hit up to 10 enemies with her ultimate, and with her basic attacks, she's hitting 5 enemies. And then finally, she is HP based. All of her damage is HP based. She makes only the 2nd hero, I do believe, in this game with pure HP based damage. Magmus has part of his damage HP based. Deimos has a little bit of damage HP based, but I think it is just Gluttony and now Malvira that have pure HP based damage. She's so exciting. You can tell, like, I'm not faking this. She's my favorite hero. That's probably going to be the thumbnail. Now that I've played with her, I think she passes Beelzebub. Sorry, my friend. She's my favorite hero in the game. She's so good and she's so unique and special, and she wears so many hats, which I say a lot. That's my favorite thing. Then there's 3 more things she gains with Awakening. So at A1, she gives a form of ally protection. Now she can put shields on all adjacent allies. She is low cost. She's your standard defender cost of 19, not 25 like Aurum or Cyrus or super expensive like that. And then at A2, she goes down to 16 cost. And then finally, a really special, unique thing, she has damage delay. So this is something like what Sadie does with her ultimate. You'll see if you get her A3 when we talk about it. She is going to essentially only take a very small portion of damage, and then after that period of time, there'll be a second period of time where she slowly takes the remaining damage that she pushed off, that she delayed. You're going to have to wait for the showcase. I'm going to break down her kit now. We're going to break down the Awakenings. I'm going to have a lot of fun because I'm just in love with this character. She really is my number 1 favorite right now in Watcher of Realms. But before we do, I want to say, watch the whole video because you're going to want to learn about how she works. Be sure to let me know in the comments what content you want to see me showcase her in tomorrow. So get those comments in early. I might even start filming tonight already. So tomorrow we're going to do a big ultimate guide on her kind of thing. We're going to do a showcase. Obviously, I'll show Gear Raid 1 like what we did here. And yeah, let's get into it. Please make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We got big events right now in Watcher of Realms, and we got an amazing new hero. So let's discuss. Let's discuss. You can see their power dominance was off. let's go into it. Let's talk about her. I do want to quickly show you that Ajax build. I mean, this Ajax build is completely nasty, right? Cataclysm with his exclusive bangle. Look at these substats. This one's like the worst piece, but still great rolls. And then perfect substats here with a Cursed Cult ring. And then phenomenal stuff on the left. Perfect stat here. Trifecta stat here. And she was like kind of keeping pace. I will say Ajax died like twice. I'm not saying she's better than Ajax, but this was in a very tanky build. So let's go to Malvira now and let's talk about her. Before we get into the kit, let me just show you this build. So I went Tempered Will. I had to really hunt all around my test server account to find gear like this. Very slow. So if you could get her up to like 300, 350, 400 attack speed, the damage would go through the roof. I just couldn't get that gear for her. But you can see she is HP based and we got that HP nice and high. Really cool build, in my opinion. And she doesn't really take damage. She didn't die once, even though she was in front of the wall the entire time. So let's talk about her. Let's start with the talent. We've mentioned it. All of her damage scales off of HP. I'm pretty sure it's just her and Gluttony, where it's just pure HP-based damage. I love it. I really hope they lean into this further, more unique kind of builds we can create. I mean, look at this, a DPS build, but still super tanky in a tank set. I think this is just really cool, right? I just think it's nice to have, you know, more versatility in the game, more variety. So that's the first part of the talent. Now you can see she has a key mechanism in her kit called Resentment. You'll see this a few different times. Each stack will reduce incoming damage by 3%. You can get up to 5 stacks, so you can get a 15% damage reduction. She maintains these stacks really well, so this is that kind of innate built-in damage reduction that I talked about, one of those key personal damage reduction mechanics that she has. Also, you'll see when she's out of this resentment state and she does consume all stacks of resentment during her ultimate, she heals herself by a ton. Actually, we got to add that to the list. Holy crap. Boom. Self-healing. There you go. So whenever she's losing these resentment stacks and whenever she leaves that kind of state during the ultimate, she's healing for 10% per stack. Keep in mind, she can get up to 5 stacks. This could be a 50% heal based off of her HP, right? So, I mean, think about how crazy that is. We are talking about, what is that, a 46,500 HP heal? Yeah, we'll take that. We'll take those hit points. Thank you very much. Now you can see, so she gains 1 stack for every 2 instances of damage taken. So if she's your tank, which she should be because she's tanky as hell, that's going to happen all the time. So she's going to really get those stacks quickly. She has a 100% chance to gain 1 stack of resentment when an allied summon dies. So this is where she fits really well synergistically into the cultist faction. She does fit in well in several ways, but you know, we've got a lot of summoners in the cultist, right? I mean, we've got a lot of summoners outside of the cultist, right? Imagine if you're using a Wukong behind her, whenever one of those monkeys die or expire, she's getting a free guaranteed stack. Furthermore, when deployed, she immediately gains 3 stacks. So she immediately has those 3 stacks, meaning as soon as she loses them, worst case, it's a 30% HP heal, and she's taking reduced damage by 9%. It's going to get crazy, guys. Buckle up. Here's the basic. 120% damage. She has a magic DPS to 5 enemies with 2 tile range, not just the 1 tile range. So theoretically, you could put her behind another tank if you want to. Really good. I think usually after I finish the basic attacks lately, what I've been doing, it's a good moment to talk about base stats. So let's do that lightning quick because I don't want this video to take forever. We're going to do at least 2 more videos on her this week. If I pull her on my main account, we're probably going to do 3. So there you go. 93,000 HP is what I built, but you'll notice compared to other legendary tanks, her HP is definitely on the lower side. This is a classic Moonton thing to do. It's like, oh, this champion does damage based off of defense. Let's give them a bit lower defense. Oh, they do it based off HP. Let's give them a bit lower HP. So I'll tell you, this kind of gear, if it was on broke gear or something, we would be looking at like 110,000 or at least like 108,000 HP. So here we're lower. We're at 93, but it's plenty. Got that defense kind of high. Her base defense is not like in the basement where like Azor and some of those guys are in like those 32 to 3,400 range, but it's not super high like Regulus, who's over 4,000. This is like in the average range, slightly to the lower end of average. Other stats don't matter too much. There's that base 19 cost, which does go down. Typical base 3 block, but you'll see she can get a ton extra block as well. So with a Bastion Ring and an ultimate, she's getting 7 block. Pretty nice attack control. This is really standard for a tank. And then here you'll see Rage Regen based off of her attack. She does not build Rage well off of her attack. This makes attack speed slightly less important for her. Pretty solid standard Rage Regen based off of being attacked as a tank with 9. So let's continue on. Let's talk about this crazy ultimate I've mentioned a few times. Look at that range. 5 by 3. Maybe I'm forgetting someone. I do not think I am. I don't think there's a single other melee unit that's even close to this. I guess the closest would be like an Arrogance or a Sela 2, right? They've got their hammer range, as I like to call it, as their base range. Kind of looks like a hammer. The 3x2 with the 2 extra in the middle, and then it fills out to a 3x4. She's got a whole extra row. She has got a whole flippin' extra row, right? She has got that Beelzebub 5x3 range, monstrous 15 tiles if you include her own tiles she's standing in that she is able to reach and hit. Beelzebub does it in an amazing way, especially with his inspiration and all his special stuff, but he's a platform unit. She's a melee, reaching that far ahead. You can see those cool animations there above my head as well. So she pulls up to 6 of the furthest enemy targets. She pulls them up in range towards her. So it's a nice little displacement. There's your crowd control. Then it's going to consume all of her resentment and deal 600% AoE damage to 10 enemy targets. So it's a real full proper AoE. For each stack of resentment consumed, increases final damage by an extra 20%. That is not stacking on top of the 600. This is a separate multiplicative little boost of damage. So it actually is better that way. So you can have 100% extra damage. If you have full resentment stacks, you're doing double damage. You're doing 1200%. That's how it manifests. Within 10 seconds after casting this hero's skill, increases her block by 3. So we're just checking all the boxes I've kind of laid out for us at the start of this video. This ult is crazy. You may have noticed her very bizarre 12.7 second ult duration. So what is this? Well, I'll tell you. She does her initial big blast of AoE damage, that with the animation and all that stuff. You're about to see it right here. That takes, the pull in, obviously, the displacement, and then the burst. That takes 2.7 seconds. After that ends, the ult continues for another 10 seconds. That's when you get the increased block and all the wackiness. So once she's done the big burst of damage, right after that, you go into the 10 seconds of increased block by 3 seconds. Let's go into the passives now. So we've got something here called Spirit Shield. When taking direct damage, she has a 20% chance to gain a shield equal to 10% of her max HP. So in this case, it'd be like a 9.3k shield. That lasts 5 seconds. If she's blocking 3, 4, if she's got her ult up 7 units, right? She's got a Bastion Ring, her base 3 block. Bastion Ring gives extra block. Now you're up to 4. Then 3 more from the ultimate. You're up to 7. She's blocking that many people. She is getting hit enough that at least once every 5 seconds it is resetting. So the uptime on this is crazy when you need it most. You're getting a very, very good shield. When you reach full stacks of resentment, those full 5 stacks, the next basic attack will go ahead and consume 1 stack of resentment, but you get a little AoE blast there of 240%. They don't say how many targets. I am inclined to think it's 10, but worst case, it's going to be the 5 over here. Maybe it's somewhere in the middle at 7. We could test it out, try to figure it out. And then this is what takes her from like, wow, she deals a lot of DPS. Wow, she has a lot of block. Wow, there's a lot of cool stuff going on here. I mean, there's an enormous list that Fastidious made of the 14 unique things she's able to do. But this is the most important. This is why I listed it first. This is what makes her like maybe gonna, make cultists rise in the GVG defense meta. Maybe gonna enable a ton of new interesting things. Who knows what she could be capable of in Gear Raid 2, for example, or even, Gear Raid 4 or 5, the gear dungeons. I don't know. She's got an incredible unyielding effect. Incredible unyielding effect. It lasts 6 seconds. She just needs 3 stacks of resentment to consume when she dies, which she almost always will have, because if she's dying, it means she has been hit a lot lately. So she's been hit even 6 times before the death. Because these don't go away unless you ult. They're just permanent stacks until you ult and lose them, or you trigger this passive over here. I promise you, if she's going to die, she's been getting hit, unless it's like some big boss AoE blast. She's going to consume them, and she enters the unyielding state. She cannot die, nothing's going to happen to her for 6 seconds. You can even heal her back up. There's no condition there with someone like Valeria. And then the craziest part, it might not seem as crazy as it is, this has a cooldown. This can happen multiple times. Everyone else, like all the key guys that have this, let's pull up Torador and Broke here. When they get that, 1 time per deployment, right? He just gets the revive again thing. If we go here, this is amazing. He freezes himself, which leads to the big version of his damage reductions, 30% on each. Gives it to all the allies. We love it. With full skill ups, it lasts 12 seconds. But still, just the first time in a battle. Not even per deployment, just the first time receiving damage. And actually, I don't know if this would reset with redeployment. I've actually never tried that. But, here we got for per deployment for Torador, unless you get him A5, then it can happen twice. There's no limit for Malvira. There's no limit at all, right? It's just a 60-second cooldown. This starts as an 80-second cooldown. You can skill it up to just a 60-second. That is really powerful. That is really unique. This would keep her from dying in Gear Raid 2 or something, right? Like, and then by the time it comes back around with the big streak, it would do it again. She is nuts. She's nuts. And you can kind of see why I'm so high on her. So let's talk about a review, and then we'll wrap up with Awakenings. So, review time. How good is she? At worst, she is an excellent, very versatile tank. At best, she joins what is in my head in terms of just pure tankiness, like a new triumvirate of the best tanks in the game. Cyrus is number 1. When it comes to tankiness, Brokir is number 2. I love Torador, but in terms of just tanking, he doesn't bring as much as the others. She would become number 3. I'm not even saying in that order. We'd have to test it out. I mean, there's so much going on here. She could be better than Brokir. I honestly think so. I can't, we need to do so much testing to prove that. She does not have as much of the ally protection stuff because Brokir, when he's frozen, he's lending all these amazing reductions to everyone. I mean, that is kind of huge. But when you throw in, you know, this on a 1 minute cooldown, that's it. And then all the other wackiness. I mean, at best, she has an argument that she should be in that conversation. Maybe she should be dominating that conversation. So this is a really, really cool thing. This is a hero I'm very obviously excited about. Let's talk Awakenings very quickly. All right, her Awakenings are pretty simple and pretty strong, so there's not so much to lose our minds over. Let's start with the A1. Love her A1. I really think you should try to get her A1 if you have the opportunity and the means, or you've saved enough. I am going to almost certainly try to do this unless I get really unlucky and don't even get my base copy. When you do her ultimate, Call of the Reaper, she applies Spirit Shield to other allies within 2 tiles for 5 seconds. So now she's getting a really cool ally protection capability, right? She didn't really have any other ways of helping her allies besides like helping kill the enemies. No ways of lending them damage reductions or shields, something like that. Now she's giving, you remember Spirit Shield, she's giving, they're not showing it here, but I'll show you here. With Spirit Shield, she's giving 10% of her max HP in terms of a shield. That could be half your ally's health, a third of your ally's health, because it's going to be 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 HP worth of a shield. You can get even higher, right? I went DPS on my left side gear. You can get even higher there. And it's all other allies within 2 tiles. So it's all other allies in a 2-tile circular radius around her, which is a huge, huge number of tiles, right? It's like if you imagine her in the center of a 5x5 square, it's all the other allies around that. I mean, this is a major, major, major shield. The A2, she becomes dirt cheap. You don't need this, but it's cool. She becomes 16 cost. I like it. Similar to Captain Reeve. And then the A3, the last of the really awesome ones and the last of the reasonable ones that people could maybe hope to get. During the ultimate, she only takes 80% of incoming damage. So she's mitigating a ton of damage, right? She's really tanky as well. And then after it ends, she gives herself 10 seconds, right? 10 seconds to take the other 20% of damage that she put off. This would stop her from dying in a lot of content. Like, especially earlier on, she could survive shrieks in Gear Raid 2. This is really cool. The only one that gets me super excited here is the A1, which is cool because it's the easiest one to get, obviously. At A4, additional base HP. Obviously huge. She's a tank. She needs HP. She's HP-based damage. She needs HP. And then finally, the A5. Each enemy killed increases her max HP by 2%. Stacks up to 10 times. Going to be very hard to get, but if you wanted to use her as a DPS, 20% extra max HP is a ton. And if you're using her in like Conqueror, or certainly using her in Gear Raid 1, or who knows what content is to come, she does a lot of AoE. She should pick up 10 kills over the course of any not short battle. There you go, guys. Quick reminder to 1, subscribe to the channel, please. And 2, the more important one, get in the comments and do let me know what content you want to see me showcase her in the guide I'm releasing tomorrow. I want your guys' opinions. I want your input. So let me know. Are you stoked about Malvira? You know I am. Thank you for watching. I've been Fastidious. Share it with your mother, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.